All right, what's going on, guys? My name's Logan with West Desert Wheeler. Today we've got our VRD Mullet, and this is going to be our first trail run with the truck. If you want to see a build overview, I will have a separate video coming out at the same time once this truck is released. So let's get to it. We're going to talk about the details of the truck as we crawl, but I want to see how this thing compares to my other trucks. I've never even driven a Mullet before, and now we've got the VRD Mullet to play with. We're going to start off with our mousetrap trail, and then we're actually going to diverge. Instead of going up the traditional trail, we're going to go up to the top of a really sketchy rock. I called that one my risk trail. So let's get to it and see how she does. Right, so we are starting out on this side hill entrance to Mousetrap. This is not an easy line at all, and we've got brand new tires, so these things are going to be a little bit greasy. The sand starts to stick to them, and it's like a little bit of a marble effect on those things. Hopefully we don't drive through enough dirt that it really affects them and they stay sticky. But one thing I'm already noticing on this guy is lots of overdrive in this, and right rear is getting light, but our front left should help level it back out again. Nice low end control with that secure ESC. This is a very off-camera line. I know that Josh with Harley and Matt with Scale Builders Guild both got a good challenge out of this one. Very nice. One shot it. We got that left rear pretty well secured. Feeling good about it. I think she's pulled it off. One thing we're noticing very first thing on this truck is the overdrive. It is 34% out of the box. It's an interesting setup because with the portal in the rear versus a straight axle in the front, it's going to inherently give you lots of overdrive because there is a reduction in the gear set of the portals, and there's not that in the front end. But then the transmission comes with a lightweight overdrive gear set from Vanquish. It's one of my favorite upgrades, but that would give you a ridiculous amount of overdrive. So they actually underdrive the front and overdrive the rear with the ring and pinion. That Vanquish is now offering a overdrive ring and pinion. This truck may be the reason for that, actually. And then they're also doing an overdrive portal gear in the rear to help reduce the total amount of overdrive sent to the truck. We got our trail dog Sydney out here with us today. She's going to be panting in the microphone while I try and record a video for you guys. So I really like the total overdrive percentage they ended up with at that 34. That's right where I like my trucks to be for a competitive hardline killing truck. Now this is a big crack right here, but I'm actually going to try not to do a whole bunch of crack lines today as what I typically go for in videos, because this guy's got the portal in the rear, and honestly, whether you're on straight axles or portals in a crack, doesn't really matter. So I want to try and find some terrain where we're going to play on some ledges, try and find some stuff where we're going to need a little bit extra clearance underneath the truck, and see just overall how this thing performs and handles. But I'm not going to not run a crack line while I'm out here, right? So this is Tyson's entrance into Mousetrap, one of the longtime favorite lines here on the channel. These J concepts are still hooking up even with some sand on the tires. Suspension's working, letting us articulate even on a steep incline and low traction. I'm trying not to fall over right here. Forward weight bias is going to let the front end control this truck and not let that rear end pull it around. The key here is to stay balanced in this crack all the way up to the top. Don't turn out too early. There we go. That left rear has a spot to go. And now we're going to take a right hand turn. We're going to go all the way up to the top of that hill for perspective. Mousetrap's over here. Sydney's trying to find some shade today. It is quite warm. It's going to get up to the 90s, I believe, which honestly, it's the end of summer. That doesn't feel so hot anymore. Another thing we should talk about is this body. This is a new release from Vanquish. I didn't see it until I had the kit, so I'm a fan. The grill is interesting. It's definitely different. They added a lot of ridges and design to the grill area, and I think that's to increase strength of the grill area. Lots of articulation there, very off camber, but that forward weight bias, again, holding that nose down, letting the front end control the truck, not the rear. Yeah, that pulled through nice. That overdrive helped us a lot. Let's see if we can do a transition back up and over this ledge. I've driven this a few times. This would be a nice little challenge. But I like the cab only setup on this. I think it's a cool looking design. It's its own design. It's very reminiscent of the Stance, but it's not the Stance. I looked at my Stance body compared to this. It's actually quite a lot different. The whole hood design is different. This guy's got a cool like dual cowl scoop that actually, it has a recess in the front edge and then it stands up proud in the rear, which is pretty cool. Man, that bright silver in the sun really making things shine. And then Vanquish supplies a third body post that mounts through the back edge of the cab. And I like the tinted window stickers that it comes with, which, by the way, you guys see this thing pull up and over that? That was nice. We can use our slider here. Oh, not even a slider. That was the belly and the links. There we go. Sweet. Yeah, up and over that thing, go back down it, not a problem. These ledges are gonna be really tricky. They always are, but man, those pulling through so far. I did throw this on the scale right before I came out, and this guy weighs 5.5 pounds without a battery. So whatever size battery you're gonna run is going to add on to that weight. And also, I've added brass weights to the knuckles and brass rings on the front. So this thing is probably a lot closer to a 5-pound truck without that. Just for reference, which I feel is a lightweight truck. It drives lightweight. It feels nimble. So things like this, where we're holding on to ledges up front, a portal axle really lets you get a solid, secure bite, whereas a straight axle doesn't quite wrap that tire sidewall on as hard. So things like that, you're going to actually give up just a little bit of bite and hook with the straight axle versus a portal build. So what we're really looking for here is where the rear portal benefits us, but having a straight axle can be a disadvantage. So that might be one of the times where you have a line where you really got to get a hook up on that front tire to pull it up and over. And with a straight axle, it may not be able to secure it like a portal build would. Did I just say the same thing twice over again? I think I did. Sorry about that. But it's driving great. I love these SL3D squid inserts on this guy. The motor's nice and smooth. But we're not so much here for that. I did use the kit oil in the shocks, and they're a little bit lighter weight oil than I typically use. Hello, Sydney. She's working her way up. We're in the middle of the line here, puppy. Excuse me. You're gonna sit right in front of me, huh? Look out. I swear this isn't planned. She's not trained to do this. This one, I've never really been able to crawl. This is usually a throttle line. You can get lucky and get it to get up there and sit, but it will fall, and it will fall off this line a lot. Yep, you got to bump through that little section just right there. Let's get ourselves a reset. It's all about getting that right rear to run up that ledge and not fall into the pocket below. It's pretty stable. I'm nowhere near being able to catch this thing, and it'll go a long ways down if it were to fall. So it's got a nice ramp in the front and the rear. Let's try a little more aggressive bump. And these secure ESCs, you give it throttle, it responds. There's very little like delay in that. Oh, very nice. I don't know if I've ever pulled up that way. Okay, we're gonna try and fight our way through here. Typically it does this. It falls over to the side like that, and you can never get it to steer back. And if you go too far passenger, you'll get stuck and you'll fall off the ledge. You guys can actually hear a vehicle in the background. That is Light Bright out here filming the video. So apparently it's YouTube day at Sand Hollow. Yeah, I don't think we're pulling this one. That's all right. It's a very difficult line. It showed a lot of promise getting up to that point anyway. Like legitimately, I'm not concerned at all. I've pulled that line maybe 2 to 3 times ever, and I've tried plenty of times. So we gotta trust our front bias here. Here's an area where our portal rear axle is certainly helping us. Yeah, got that big ledge next to the tire. And we want it to slide along. We actually don't want it to climb yet. We need to keep an uphill angle on the front end, and then she should pull through right about now. There we go. Very nice. Yeah, this thing's working good. That was definitely a mullet line because it kept our front end low and planted with lots of weight up front, and then allowed that rear to have some added clearance, so it kept traction down instead of dragging the diff, which would rotate the truck around downhill and potentially lose the entire line. So that was a nice line there. I like that. That was a good demonstration of where a mullet would help you out. Let's check out the angled skid on this guy. This is the aluminum chassis on the VRD, not the carbon fiber. I don't know how much performance you'll really see going from aluminum to carbon fiber, but I like having the carbon fiber chassis, just me. But we're seeing some cost differences and some cost savings by doing that. So they added a portal in the rear. They take away the carbon fiber chassis. Overall, this is probably stronger, I would guess, versus flat carbon. So I don't know. Do you guys think an aluminum rail like this is stronger than a carbon chassis? You're a lot less likely to snap it, I would say that. You could probably just slap it back in a vise, clamp it down tight, and straighten her back out. But yeah, this thing's crawling great. I'm a fan. She hasn't gone upside down yet. We need to push our limits a little bit more. That 30% overdrive, did you guys see that? I was driving up here, I cut right, and it literally just shot us that way from that added overdrive in the front end. Lots of steering angle on these F10 straights. I've never put steering stop screws on the F10 straight axle. You don't need it. Let this thing turn. Got my end point set to where the tie rod goes all the way up against the diff on the axle housing. That is a detail that I will often change on my trucks, is the tie rod and drag links on these are pretty thin. I would go on to Vanquish's website, get the titanium builder's link kit. In the manual, it's going to tell you what the length of the link is, and buy that length in one of their titanium builder's links. It's going to be a little bit larger profile, not quite as large as their stainless link profiles that are included on the bottom of this truck. And it's just going to give you a beefier tie rod. That's just something I like to do. It's not necessary, but yeah, that's something I do on a lot of my builds. Okay, see if the 30% can pull us uphill. It's going to get off camber here. Most trucks don't like this. A lot of trucks will tip. See, picking up that front right. It's going to settle though. Yeah, I'm able to be pretty aggressive with this. Sydney's trying to make the side hill too. We're doing some compy stuff here, wiggling servos under a little bit of throttle, trying to get that back end to kind of slide around into position. Needed to square up to this ledge a little more. And this truck is definitely going to be aimed at competitive use. That's why I'm referencing that. Ooh, a little bit of throttle. This might be another area where I don't know if a straight axle would hit there or not, but having the added clearance did not hurt us. And there's a big drop behind us, so if you don't trust your truck on this line, you're in trouble. Fortunately, it's pretty easy to catch it right here, but yeah, this whole area gets sketchy. Huge drop down there. That goes back to where we started. Huge drop into mousetrap. It's not good if you roll your truck either way. So let's hear your input, guys. What do you think of the VRD Mullet? Just first impressions, if you haven't driven one yet, haven't seen one yet, just based on YouTube content, what are your thoughts? I think this is a fairly niche product. It's a good one. The product, like it's high-end parts, everything's good in here. I just don't know how many people are going to appreciate what the Mullet does and whether or not it's enough of an advantage, I guess you could call it, to go for the Mullet, dropping that front end a little bit lower, because they have heavy brass options for the portal trucks, so you can get a forward weight bias to help keep the CG low on a portal truck. Oh, are we gonna pull this or roll off? I think it's gonna pull it. That was questionable there for a minute. So yeah, that's the real question. F10s with big brass on them are Are they not as effective as this Mullet? I don't know. We also have our drive shaft sitting pretty low in the rear, and that's because if you don't flip your ring and pinion as you install it into the rear axle, because of the portal gears, it reverses the output of the axle shaft. So if you don't flip your diff when you install this into your truck, your tires are going to spin opposite directions. So we'll see if we can get a better view of what I'm talking about with these drive shafts here. As the truck rolls by, we're gonna have a high pinion on the front axle. You actually can barely see it, but let me point this out. Where the drive shaft comes out of the rear axle, typically it sits up here, up by the upper links in the rear. And in this guy, it sits down low, which when your links are level, let's see if we can level out the suspension of the truck. The drive shaft sits a little bit lower than the links back there. So you're gonna be rubbing on that quite a bit. And which could be a benefit if you're on your drive shaft. Instead of being diffed out, if you're riding on top of your drive shaft, as you're applying throttle, it will be rotating, so hopefully it helps kind of scoot your butt off of the rock that you're on. You know what I'm saying? Like it could try and carry and move the truck sideways as you drive forward. It's a possibility. I'm not saying that's what it will do or what it's designed to do, but it could happen. Now we're on to one of the absolute sketchiest parts of this entire trail. It's sketchy to stand here because there's a huge drop, but even worse, this thing's gonna drop off and it's going to lift a tire towards the edge. And we're gonna try not to let this thing fall because this is my brand new truck. First run out here with it. Very impressed by a first run though. I'm also just impressed with these tires on their first run. I honestly can't ask more of them as far as traction goes. Okay, we're square on our belly here because of my poor driving there. Here we go. Yeah, this is not a good setup. So let's try a little bit different approach here. We're gonna try and keep our belly in the little saddle. Perfect. Just touch those sliders on the way through. Not enough to hang it up. And then we're gonna bring it way up into this pocket. Remember what's behind me. And then this guy's gonna set down nice and easy onto the belly. It's leaned towards the cliff. See that left rear is up in the air. She's leaned over towards the cliff. This is where you need to trust your rig. The overdrive is gonna help pull that front axle out from underneath the truck. And it's not over yet because we still have to get the rear down, which is going to articulate the same way. This is where you've got to have a lot of forward bias. Our CG is nice and low with that straight front axle. Is the front end going to win in this competition? It might lift the front tire. She's fully flexed out. It's lifting that front tire. The portal reached down to the ground. One shot this guy. I've been up here with Wyatt before, and he had to earn it too. So he understands how difficult this is. And when Wyatt acknowledges that something's difficult, you know, that's saying something. So yeah, that truck did really well through there. That was awesome. Let's do one more death-defying line over here. A lot of my friends don't like to do this. We'll go see how she does though, because we're up on top of this mountain and we're gonna go around the point in a super sketchy way. All right guys, this is a easily 40 to 50 foot drop up here. Let's see how she does. We're gonna get into position and you can see this kind of vertical rock right here. We're gonna go around that point. So we're gonna get up, climb. You know, I don't know if I like this approach actually. We may take a different approach. Let's start up higher, up here. And then we can drive down and turn. Leaned out towards the cliff edge. There's just a little bit of a ledge out there to hold on to, but it's not an even ledge. We're already off camber anyway. These tires are doing us good today. This thing's gonna flex a lot towards the edge here. Using our Reefs 777, tons of torque, lots of grip. It just slid the whole back end around as I straightened up my tires. I don't know if you guys noticed that. It is not gonna wanna turn here. She's got to pull through. Ooh, I'm a little worried about this because there's nothing to hold on to. Sydney, do not push me. Okay, got my camera hand ready to grab it. Ooh, is it gonna do it? I think it just got the bite. Ooh, man, that is so sketchy. Okay, now we gotta get up and over. Just off camber, trying to turn uphill on mossy rocks. Never a good combo. And we're doing it 40 feet above the ground, which is solid rock ground, by the way. So if it falls, she's gonna slam and be destroyed. And I'm in no position to catch the truck. And at this point, I don't want to put myself in a position to catch the truck. I would rather send an apology email to Vanquish about destroying a new rig than fall off it myself. So, Sydney is panting with anticipation. No, it's just hot. Get up here, climb, pull, get up the bonus ledge on the top. All right, guys. So this truck has proven it's got a nice low CG. It's got some added weight in the front that I put in there, but I'm very impressed with this. It's crawling really good. It's still super stable and planted. I still haven't rolled this thing, and I'm at the top of one of my hardest trails. The angled skid, still working excellent for us. I love the spec on this VFD. Aluminum motor plate, aluminum standoffs, lightweight high overdrive gear set in the transfer case. It's just a weapon. All sorts of crazy overdrives, ups and downs going on in the transmission and the portal axle and the differentials. But when it all comes to the tires, it works out good. Nice, that was a big drop. I don't know that I've ever dropped this line and then tried to exit this way. I think she's got it. It's gonna slide off the skid. Oh, don't go that way. Oh. What'd you think of that one, Sydney? Yeah, that wouldn't have been good. I finally rolled it though. One very funny detail on these trucks. It comes with the stance guy, but on the sticker page, there's this weird looking little sticker right here. It's a mullet. You can put it on your stance guy if you want. It comes with a couple of them. I thought that was a hilarious detail, so thumbs up there from me. I'm rocking the mullet on this one. I went with the box art paint job. I know that's like a no-no for SBG and Harley. I think the silver looks great on this thing. If the truck looks great on the box, why wouldn't you want it to look like that? Beautiful pull. Right there, our rear axle, if it was straight, would certainly be diffed out. And then we're gonna give it just enough bite before we turn up the next ledge. And we're gonna cross over yet again. These crossover ledges is really where that portal helps us. And by the way, this line has multiples of those. My controller lost signal through the rock for a second. So we're gonna come up here, and then we're gonna turn uphill as that left rear starts to climb. We're floating the right rear. She's fully articulated. This thing does have a lot of articulation. It's got lots of travel, which I'm a fan of. I do like a flexi rig. Not over the top, but this is just right. This is probably just a little over a 475, somewhere around 5 inches of articulation, I'd say. We're gonna work our way up through these little weird ledgy stuff. Like I kind of mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is kind of the terrain that I wanna showcase this thing on. Let's see if we can get up that right line. I don't know if she's gonna do it with the weeds in the way. I guess we'll just go left. High clearance link worked perfect for us in that situation. Lots of this rip-rap, loose rock stuff. If you guys are crawling in loose rock stuff like that, portal rear is going to help a ton. Oh look, we were diffed out in the front. But we're able to steer our way around. And then let's just drive completely straight and watch the rear axle. Completely clears it, so ideal situation. Front end was able to steer around it, rear end just cleared it. That's a perfect example of why a mullet setup is beneficial. Because in a truck without rear steer, you know, you can't wiggle the rear tires around. And typically dragging the whole front end around, making the truck kind of wander like this is not as effective as breaking that diff free. I've done it lots of times with other trucks. All right, let's try something here. Occasionally I will do reverse entry drops, but on a truck with higher overdrive, it really makes the suspension unhappy. So let's see how controllable this truck is with that. Oops. Okay. Ended up moving a little quicker than I anticipated there, but our rear end's down. Now they really don't like this, when the rear tire is kind of trapped up against the ledge and you have high overdrive in the front and you're trying to back up. The rear tire is climbing slower than the front, and it'll bind it up like that. So there we go. Don't think it's gonna pull all the way out of this. Let's keep going. All right, guys, tell me this. How many other YouTubers have you seen doing reverse lines with the VRD mullet? So now we know she's capable in reverse too. This thing is doing really awesome. Yeah, I like this more than I thought I would. This truck is crawling great. Which honestly, I really liked the VRD when it came out as the full portal version. The VRD carbon was excellent. I straight axle swapped a Stance, and it's my favorite Class 2 I own. I've had it for almost 2 years now. So this hybrid between the two is a super interesting proposition. And so far, like I say, I like this more than I thought I would. It's been a solid little truck. I do have a really lightweight motor setup in this, so that's definitely beneficial. I like how lightweight these VRDs feel and handle. So keeping a lightweight build kind of in mind is awesome. And then when everything's lightweight, it takes less weight in the front to get that really forward bias feel and setup. So I honestly don't even know if I need brass rings in the front of this. This forward bias is really working. I don't have scales to get the percentage, but this thing's got to be at least 60% bias in the front. Probably a little more, probably 62-ish if I were to guess. But let's talk about those overdrive portal gears in the back of this guy, because it's an interesting topic. From a standard portal gear setup, to get reduction, you have a smaller gear on top and a larger gear on bottom. When you do an overdrive gear, you increase the top gear size. So it loses reduction, but it gains strength, because the weak point in a portal is that upper gear. That will be the one that breaks first. So by Vanquish overdriving the rear like they have, it's actually giving you a stronger portal. So it's kind of a cool added benefit of having that overdrive in the rear. All right, friends, I can feel that my GoPro is physically hot, so she may cut out here any second. I think we're gonna wrap this video up. I think we covered some awesome terrain in this video and proved that this truck is just an animal on the rocks. We're gonna need a little bump to get those rears up that ledge. Like I said, a little bump worked just great. And we're gonna cut over. This is one of my favorite little transitions out here. This front end's gonna get trapped in this pocket a bit. This actually may not work out. We're gonna take a little back up. Reverse, 1 point. I made the classic mistake of not making my reverse enough. Second rollover of the video. Here we go. Let's get this right this time. Let's just get set up, get where we need, and shoot it. That was enough. Oh, it gets bellied out, and if you end up on the bottom side, it's not gonna work out for you. Wow, this is challenging, this truck. Interesting. Just trying to get this bumper clear. Trying to get the rock from out under the undercut. Yeah, we're gonna take another small reverse. I think our belly's clear now. Yep, just needed that little backup. Okay. The first truck I ever drove up this line was my Vanquish Phoenix, the kit. So I've been driving this one for a while. Oh, get up there, quit complaining. This wheelbase is just wrong for this setup. It's because I ended so squared up. Usually I don't end up like that. Get out of there, come on. That's it, that's it. All right. So thank you very much to Vanquish for sending out this kit for me to get some content out to you guys. I'm a big fan of how it handles. It really drives great. I added SSD brass knuckles in the front, and then I've got the Vanquish brass rings inside these Vanquish KMC wheels. Yeah, that pretty well covers all the secret hidden things we haven't talked about. The new shocks, I'm definitely going to give you guys updates as far as we go, if they're going to be leaking or not. Let's flip this guy over right now. I see no evidence of oil on the rear. I see no evidence of oil on the fronts either. Once she goes home and sits on the shelf for a week or two, I'll definitely keep you guys updated. Expect to see this truck more. I'm probably gonna get my Class 2 out against this Mullet because I wanna know who is better, because this thing drives excellent, but my Class 2 drives excellent. Curious to see how they stack up. Let me know down below if you wanna see that kind of content. I'll get out my Vanquish gate markers, run a course, and see who comes out on top. But it's hot, guys. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm sweating. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Be sure to hit the links down below. I'll have an affiliate link down to this VRD Mullet kit. If you purchase it through there, if you purchase anything through that affiliate link, it'll give me a little bit of a kickback, help support me here on the channel. If you want to support me directly, westdesertwheeler.com. Something as simple as a sticker pack helps me out, or any of my hard products, or if you can find them in stock, my cut and shuts help as well. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, West Desert Wheeler. We will see you guys in the next one. Keep the rubber side down.